In the 4 years with Diggs, the following teams got closer to winning a Super Bowl. And what I'm about to tell you is unimpeachable fact that for some reason folks are still in denial about. So the Bills had Diggs for 2020, 21, 22, 23. In those 4 years, the Chiefs, the Rams, and the Bucks all won a Super Bowl. Chiefs won 2. Do we all agree that winning the Super Bowl is closer to winning the Super Bowl than not? Okay, yes. Check them off. The Niners, the Bengals, and the Eagles all played in the Super Bowl. Do we all agree that playing in a Super Bowl, by the way, they all lost close Super Bowls, as did the Chiefs lost the Super Bowl in this run as well, but it got blown out. Do we all agree that playing in a Super Bowl is closer to winning a Super Bowl than not playing in a Super Bowl? Yes. Now we're at 6. Okay. What's the closest you can come to making a Super Bowl but not making it? Well, playing in the conference championship game and losing on a heartbreaker? Okay. Or losing close. Detroit played a nail-biter conference championship game, was up 17 and lost by a score. Green Bay played a nail-biter conference championship game that came down 5, have a third down against Brady, get off the field, but a flag comes. That's close. Baltimore driving to be down 3, leaping for the goal line, fumble the football. Is that close? Okay. The Bills in this time frame played in 1 conference championship game, got beat by 3 scores. All right. So that is Kansas City, the Rams, the Bucks, the Niners, the Bengals, the Eagles, the Lions, the Packers, and the Ravens. 9 teams in a 32-team league. So more than a quarter of the league got closer than the Bills did. Some of us saw a team who was overly reliant on a superhuman at quarterback who tended to still trace back to some of his most juvenile mistakes. Folks, for years, have poked fun at the fact that I still bring up that Josh Allen, in the waning moments of the first playoff game he ever played in, threw a ball backwards over his head because he panicked. And that I said, that tells me a lot about who he is. Folks are like, oh my God, Nick, are you serious? And then you're still bringing that up? Well, 5 years later, in the biggest game he ever played against the Kansas City Chiefs at home, the third play of the game, he panicked and threw a forward pass when he was 7 yards past the line of scrimmage to try to get a third down. That ended up working because the refs missed it. And 2 hours later, in the fourth quarter of that game, before the missed field goal, he panicked and tried to stretch for an extra yard and fumbled the ball, and it was bouncing to end the game and end the season. And luckily, a Chiefs player foolishly tried to scoop and score, and the Bills got it back. I don't know how you account for those moments, but they're real. Just like it was real and not accounted for in any of your juvenile, facile, keep them in a damn lab, preseason win probabilities. You know what was real? Stefon Diggs doing this on the sideline to Josh Allen. That was real. You know what was real? Sean McDermott doing this. How concerned am I? Very concerned. I'm very concerned about Stefon Diggs. You know what was real? Stefon's brother saying, get him out of there. It's all real. And this is maybe even more than an argument against the Bills or against those dopes that I argued with on the internet. This is kind of an argument against artificial intelligence, the thrust of AI and robots into our lives versus what human beings know. You watched the Bills and you said, oh boy, Sean McDermott looks nervous. Ooh, boy. Josh Allen and Stefon Diggs, I can't tell you why specifically it felt in my gut that Diggs and Allen's sideline interactions were more worrisome than Travis Kelce literally assaulting Andy Reid on the sideline, but something in my heart and my head tells me they're different. I can't prove it to you, but I know Travis and Andy love each other and it's going to be fine. And I can't prove it to you, but I know Stefon and Josh are not on the same page. And here we are. And the Bills just got worse. You know how I know they got worse? Their general manager had a press conference yesterday and said, "We're worse." That's how I know. And so I'm here to tell you that some of this was not that hard to see coming. And the idea that the Bills had an era is an insult to eras. They were a pretty good team for the last 4 years. They were a touch in this time frame better than the Cowboys and a touch worse than the Packers. That's it. They weren't some juggernaut. It was never Brady, Manning, Mahomes, Allen. It's an insult to everyone in that conversation to say that. They weren't the Chiefs' biggest threat. You know how I know? Because the team with the better quarterback and the, I can't believe I'm saying this, steadier coach with a defense that instead of every year being great in the regular season and falling apart in the playoffs, was mediocre in the regular season and excellent in the playoffs. In Cincinnati, that team actually beat Kansas City. And I understand that the AFC title game results are, a noisy peak. But it's the way we measure athletes and teams, guys. Hey, thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button to get more from the show and make sure to click the bell to get notified every time new content drops. Check out full episodes of What's Right wherever you get your podcasts, or just click the link in the description below.